Alright. That's my dance. Can't play music because I get copyrighted. Don't know how to do that yet. I gotta figure that out. Somehow people make videos of other people's songs and under their own name. I don't know how they get, hundreds of millions of views. And do they benefit from that? How do they do that? So many questions. Aloha Tam, love you, girl. Oh, well, let's take a quick look at the stock market because it just closed. Stock market is crashing. It's getting real. It's we're about 10% down. Here it is right there. Down 536 today, the Dow. That's the main one to look at if you don't know. All this other stuff is just whatever. But the Dow, which is a summary of the top 20 companies in the world. And that is what's going on. And I believe Tesla is in that group, or was, or got into it because it was big enough, right? Got so big. But yes, I believe this, and it's so funny. These business analysts, I've been watching business analysts for 40 years, so oh God, they just can't even see how stupid they are right now as they're talking about the correction. I just heard more than one person. We don't understand. There's no reason for there to be a downward trend in the stock market. It's like, are you kidding me? Where do you start? Where do you start? You're pulling the plug on all those great workers, and then all the work that they do that creates more commerce, and then, I mean, we're not collecting now because we don't, IRS isn't function. We're not going to be collecting any money into the treasury. It's being stolen by Elon Musk. And we're just not paying anybody for anything. And it's just hard to even, that's why I got to dance, man. That's why I got to dance, just to flush out all the evil vibes, because they just, it's, anyway, I'm going to tell you the news. I'm going to tell you the news you're going to hear about later, because all this stuff is going to be talked about by all the different people that you watch, whether it's the three or four guys at night, who are comedians, but they all cover the daily events, like the Moosehead story, the aluminum story, the Montana legislature, this crazy evil woman that just did horrible things. You're not going to believe how horrible it is. It's the god-awful daily news. Let's start on that story. Kimberly Sullivan. Fire at her house. Firemen come. Discover a 68-pound, 5'9" person who had been locked up by his stepmom for 20 years, imprisoned in the basement, tortured for 20 years. I wonder, is he 21? Is he 25? Is he 30? How old is he? I don't know. But 20 years of his life, I'm guessing majority of it, locked up by his, here's the news, and this is where the intuition comes in. Here's what we haven't heard yet. That's just another MAGA mom, Trump supporter, like Lori Daybell. You couldn't tell. You wondered, was she had to be a MAGA mom, and yeah, when she started talking about how she don't trust the news in this interview she just did, you're like, oh yeah. That's a MAGA mom who killed her 2 children. There was no way she was not one like that. Just another evangelical girl who saw her kids as demons. Jesus Christ, God help us. You go, the spiritual advisor. It's funny because I mentioned this just recently, but about the case, because it's an old case, but he was just sentenced, I think, so it makes the news. Or convicted or sentenced. And that was the spiritual advisor, leader of a mega church, because the mega churches are always up to doing so much good. Imagine you're a con man, pedophile, and you figured out a way to you just promise people salvation, and then they'll give you 10% of their income and let you rape their children. My God, what a good scam that is. And how come every religion has done that to people? Anyway, what's this, gee whiz, so sad. What's his name? We got to get his name here. Robert Morris, the one of the heads of Gateway, one of the biggest mega churches in the country. Spiritual advisor to Donald Trump. That was his spiritual advisor until he was put up on charges for raping children. And now he's been convicted and maybe sentenced, or only convicted, not sure, but, you know, because Trump only hires the best people, you know. All right, well, moving on, you'll be hearing about that. And then Scott Bessent, oh my God, he's our Treasury Secretary, okay? And he was interviewed this morning, and he's just such a dipshit. And this shit they're trying to sell you guys, you MAGA dipshits, they ain't trying to sell it to anybody else because no one else will believe in this shit. Oh yeah, we just need to go through. There's gonna be a boom down the road. This is just as necessary. If you're gonna create fundamental change, you know, you just gotta. There's gonna be a little time where you're going through the corrective process, and then it's gonna be full steam ahead when things really get good down the road after everyone lost their job and can't afford food and is in the streets. We're all gonna get rich somehow magically. It's gonna be anyway. Yeah, this guy Besant, he is just the. He's got this lacquered face. He's like if an alien was a human. That's this guy, and he's just so aloof and on such a. He's living in such penthouse apartments that he just has no clue as to what's happening in the real world. And that's what oozes from him, how he's just so clueless and not connected to anything in the real world. Anyway, what are you going to do? Whoa. Department of Education's being destroyed. It's so sad. 1,300, half of the Department of Education is destroyed. And they're probably going to be telling them to do the same shit they did to USAID, which is go burn all your documents, burn everything. Just eliminate the fact that the Department of Education was ever here. That way, if we ever want to recreate it afterwards or put it back, it'll be impossible, right? Because we won't have any of the infrastructure that we had, because they're going to burn it all. Because that's how sick these people working for the Russians, freaking evil devil worshippers. These people this guy that rapes children, he ain't worshiping anything but the devil, Donald Trump. As he's raping children, right? Is that a Jesus lover? Really? Is that really? And I don't care what he claims to have faith in on his deathbed. He going to hell. If you rape kids, you go to hell. That's what's wrong with Christianity. The part where you think you're going to get a pass on heaven because you just say, "I love you, Jesus." Yeah, no, I don't believe that's how it works. No way. So 62% of Americans own stock. Stock market was at 45,000. It's now at 4,000. Roughly speaking, it's roughly lost 10% of its value. That's significant. Now, how low will it go? 35,000, a 10,000 point drop. That's what Trump did before. I think it might have a downside of 32,000. But that's what you're going to want to. You do what you want. But if I was advising your investment strategy, I would say be like Lao Tzu. Stand back, see the big picture, see how the black and the white interact with each other, and there's a black eye in a white swirl, and everything's interconnected and interrelated, and look at the whole world and how everyone's pissed at us and how we are doing the dumbest shit ever. The Wall Street Journal, you're gonna hear about this, how the Wall Street Journal reported, Rupert Murdoch's Wall Street Journal, you know, a guy who helped us destroy our nation to this point, But now he's like, oh man, I don't know if I should have done that. The story read that this is the dumbest of the dumb, these policies of Trump's. Just flat out, Wall Street Journal called Donald Trump stupid. Told him he's stupid. And the whole country and the whole world thinks he's stupid. Oh, poor Canada. We love you, Canada. Anyway, where was I? Short bus, short stairs. If you haven't seen it, Donald Trump took the short stairs. Like no president does. Presidents always take the long stairs. He went into the luggage compartment because he doesn't want to be seen going up those stairs because he can't do those stairs anymore, right? He's so weak and frail, which isn't something to normally criticize someone for, and I would never do that, except for the fact that these depraved, low-life assholes did that to our beloved Joe Biden. That's all they did for the entire time he was anywhere near the Oval Office, before, during, after. So, yeah, he will be made fun of, definitely. It's our job. Of course, aluminum, that story's already been talked about. And that's all stuff, okay, right? So, like, Wall Street doesn't get it. They're like, we just don't understand. I think, and they keep trying to reassure everybody, tell people, things are going to be fine in no time. They just don't see that, if it's now, the price of everything goes up that's in an aluminum can, everything, okay, that's not going to encourage purchasing. It's just bad. It's just bad for everything, for the overall economy, shrinking, constricting. All the countries in the world just pulling back homes, people not flying, not going to work. The people we need to go pick our lettuce aren't showing up to work. We're putting them in planes and sending them away in shackles. And that's going to make produce cost more, and there'll be less of it. The scarcity of it will force the price up. I mean, it's already a clusterfuck. So, yeah, the only question is how far will the stock market go down, right? What will the new trading range be? Because that's what will ultimately establish itself. It'll hit a bottom and then stay above that, and it'll do this. Always. It always does this. But right now, it's doing this. It's just going down. Still doing that, right? Yesterday, it was only down 80 points. Today, it's down 536, right? Tomorrow, maybe it'll bounce back 1,000 points tomorrow before it goes down another 2,000 points. But there's no way it's going up in general. There's just no way. And then Tesla stock. I'll look up what Tesla stock did today. That'll be fun to watch. Oh, I think it was down close. I think I know. It was down 7 points, roughly speaking. So it's back going down, right? And I just don't see any reason to be optimistic, even though there's people so heavily invested. Oh, so here's you're going to hear this talked about in the news, and this is interesting and significant. But so when Musk purchased Twitter, he did it with borrowed money. And he leveraged that loan against the stock that he owns in Tesla. And so long as its price is high enough, it's all good. He's got great leverage against that loan. But if his stock price goes down at a certain point, it'll trigger those loans being called home to roost, meaning he'll possibly need to sell off whatever he needs of his Tesla stock in order to pay off Twitter, decreasing his net worth substantially, as well as everything. I mean, his net worth is now down basically 50%. And all the other rich guys in Trump's inauguration have lost a couple, like $200, $300 billion themselves as well. It's like $500 billion lost by all those guys. Oh my God. Maybe they should change those algorithms, at Facebook and at Twitter, just to save themselves. instead of pushing Russian propaganda through there, maybe they should, or Republican Russian propaganda, they could put like something pro-democracy in their little feeds all the time and give those some extra light. How about meek, weak Republican president? What does he do? He, of course, he didn't want to make the insurrectionists that beat cops domestic terrorists. We didn't make them domestic terrorists, but he wants to make somebody who spray paints a Tesla a domestic terrorist. I mean, come on. And of course, there's big protests, especially now that the protests rose up pretty well. Oh, and did you hear a bunch of nice people who happen to be in a Jewish organization did a pretty some kind of interesting protest somewhere on behalf of the nice guy who was leading the protest against the genocide. I mean, it's now obviously a genocide, and there's no need to debate it. It's just unfortunate, and it's at the hands of Netanyahu. No, it wasn't Biden's fault. It's nobody's fault other than Netanyahu. He is, and the bloodthirsty sickos. There's a few around him, just like Trump has. Yeah, that's really scary when they start taking people who are basically lifelong citizens and deporting them. I mean, they're going to deport me back to Northumbria, where my ancestors came from 400 years ago. All right, send me back to Northumbria. All right, here's some really interesting and funny. This is fun. This is fun news. This is maybe the one bright spot all day. Moosehead. I grew up drinking Moosehead beer, and they just came out with a product, a whole crate, the presidential pack. 1,461 beers, a beer for every day of President Trump's time in office. The presidential pack. Oh, it's just so clever. And then on the box it says, we don't know what's going to happen for the next 4 years, but whatever happens, it'll be a little bit better with one of these every day. Or something like that. I took a picture of it on screen, and I'll post it up here. Well, let's see. And then the Luigi case is really interesting, because it seems like there's a bunch of holes in the prosecution. And he has the best lawyer ever. This woman is so good. I think is it Haberman or Hagerman? But she is good. And of course, weaponizing the government against him, they're trying to prosecute him as a domestic terrorist as well. It's this evil Trump organization weaponizing the government against the people of the United States of America in every way, shape, or form. People are already being murdered. They're starving to death all over the freaking world, including our country. We're cutting off food aid to the poorest and most vulnerable. Like Speaker Johnson's, Little Dick Johnson's district back in Louisiana is totally dependent. It's a poor place, and they're dependent on assistance, and he is about to gut that. He is enabling these guys to make the poor people who depend on food from the food bank starve, because they're going to of course, they're going to need to take money from the food bank to give the tax. What's funny is that they keep talking about, well, as soon as we get these tax cuts, we've got to get these tax cuts, and everyone knows that they're talking about tax cuts for the billionaires. Do they not hear how stupid they sound when you say tax cut, tax cut, tax cut, and everyone knows you're only talking about tax cuts for the rich? Do they think that makes them sound smart? And that's all Republicans are dying to do. They're so bribed. So bribed. It's just so obvious. And Russia has its hands in so much of this shit. It's so crazy. It's so weird. So weird having a Russian asset for a president. I mean, my God. And Melania too, guaranteed. She's definitely involved in all that, right? And his first Russian wife. And this poor Valerie Costa, she runs this organization that is, protest Tesla. But everyone's protesting Tesla. You don't got to tell me to protest. It's an organic thing. There's no leader of this cause. It is everyone. It is the whole country of Canada against Tesla. The whole country of Mexico against Tesla. Everyone who ever would have voted for Joe Biden or did will never own a Tesla again and is getting rid of their Teslas, which is Tesla's whole audience. Europe is not going to buy any more Teslas. Ever. England. Never. They're building out for nothing. The company is gone. It's done. Being a Nazi does not help business. It's so sad. And now that we've seen all these Sig Heils, we don't have to beat around the bush and, pretend not to want to use a word that would offend people, right? Because we know what it is. It is. This is the freaking Fourth Reich. This is Germany in 1936. And God bless America. I hope people really do just somehow stand up and stop all this. It's so sad. So scary. Shoots. Well, we got 3 people watching. It's a pretty big audience. I'm doing good. It's funny though, if you watched what I just said, all these stories. Oh, how about Montana? A few god-awful people, Republicans, had a sense of common sense for a minute. And after listening to the testimony of the 2 trans state legislators that have been elected in Montana, Republicans got together and defeated an anti-trans bill, one that would have had CPS workers going to perfectly healthy households, perfectly healthy families, and taking a trans kid out of the home and putting them into foster care because they're a trans kid, right? And then another one that would just, there was another just, another one that proclaimed that being trans is a fetish and not someone's life. And so, pretty interesting. And just, but the Republicans said the kind of shit that I would like to say if I was ever in Congress. This woman got just a flash of common sense. Republicans don't have it very often. But she's like, why are we doing shit like working on this? Like, she's like, this is, like, we shouldn't even be talking about this stuff, right? Trans, the word should never even be mentioned because it doesn't matter. It's so insignificant. It's a small amount. Just live and let live. Let these people live however the hell they want. And she's like, we should be talking about tax policy, not whether or not we designate being trans as a fetish. That's just stupid. Stupid. We should be working on lowering property taxes for our residents, right? Duh. Everything else needs to be done other than everything that Republicans do. It's just so sad. So sad. Anyway, these people being attacked. Of course, that's what the weakest, meekest weaklings, Republicans, do. They target the most vulnerable, those who do not have numbers to stand up against them, money to stand up against them, right? Trans are like 0.06% of the population. Jews are like 4% of the population, right? All the minority groups that are the target, except the one that they're so stupid to go after women, trying to take women's freaking right to vote away and taking all their reproductive health care rights away. Women are more than 50% of the electorate, and they're more than 50% of our college graduates. They are like a bear you don't want to poke. And I think you just might have poked Republican women into becoming smart enough to not be Republicans anymore. But I don't know. I mean, imagine the horror. If I was a woman in a red state and I got pregnant, the first thought I would have was, oh shit, this could be a death sentence. This could lead to my death, right? Imagine getting pregnant, wanting to have a family, maybe your second, your third kid, and having to realize this could lead to my death because I won't get care if I need to abort a baby for the health of the baby or for my health, right? It could kill me being pregnant in a red state. And in Idaho, you'd be criminalized if you leave to get that's super handmade-ish, scary. The place where recently they said not all kids are welcome. A sign said all are welcome here. Was said no, we don't agree with that in Idaho. How about that? That made the news too. Jeff Stallemore covered that, which was cool. I saw it before that, and we already talked about it. But and then there's the tariffs, and again, no one understands. No one understands why he's so tariff. See, he's never been able to read. Okay, he never learned anything in college. He obviously never. He got someone else to do his homework. He got take-home tests. He's probably given C- and D's and was passed somehow with a degree. His dad paid to build a building. So in exchange for building a building, they passed Donald Trump. It was the lowest student on the bottom of his class, right? And but you could tell he never took an economics course. I mean, he had to have gone through some to get a business degree, but he never learned a damn thing, and he never learned anything ever in college or from anything. Good morning. Love you, Frankie. Does that mean you're 70 years old? Or you're born in 1970? I never know what the number means. I think people often put their birth year on there. I'm so curious. Anyway, so yeah, Donald Trump's never learned anything from like a book or a teacher or in a class, okay? But the one thing he has done his whole life is watch a lot of TV news. He's always wanted to try to get in the news, be in the news, look in any way, shape, or form, on any talk show, anywhere. Okay, see, wow. So do you have to change your name every year? Yeah, so he's never learned anything from a book or an instructor or a professor. And he doesn't know anything about anything, and we know that because he constantly proves that. And he can't read, he just proved that. But he can watch TV, and he's watched a lot of TV. And I did nothing but watch news from the age of 1976 when I was 6 years old. I got sucked in with the presidential campaign, and it was on in the living room, in the middle of every night. You know, the 5 o'clock news, the 6 o'clock news, the 7 o'clock news, the 11 o'clock news, 10 o'clock news. I watched it all. And there was constant reference, 70s, 80s, 90s, constant reference. Every time it gets to the little business section, right? In the 70s, it was all about the recession and how high unemployment was, and inflation, and interest rates, and price of gas crisis, and all that. Okay, and then 80s, you know, it was Reagan telling everyone to spend, and we got to build ICBM missiles, and of course, instead of small government, Reagan got big government, opposite of what they always say they're going to do, and of course, just opened the wallet up and started the campaign of fraud in the military, where they're just stealing money. So much money is being stolen from military. God only knows. Anyway, so. And they just increased spending again because, you know, we're not at war. Um, while we're going to starve children. We're going to raise our military spending to close to $1 trillion while we're just going to starve children. Take away their free lunches. It's just so, and take away all the other stuff, veterans benefits and park rangers and school teachers and oh my God. Anyway, so back to this point. I'm doing the weave because I'm so smart. So, yeah, in the news constantly every night, they just talk about every time ever the monthly news came out about the trade deficits. It's just constantly repeated. And it made me feel like we were losing some sort of imaginary conflict and that we were too permissive with our tariffs. And it was often in that they have higher tariffs on our goods than we do on theirs, you know, like Toyota or Japan. And so there was this feeling you could have got a victimhood. Oh, we're the victims to this. But really, we were just leading the world in commerce and helping develop it everywhere, which made everybody richer, including us. And that is the invisible hand theory that our whole country's economic system is based on. So, so Trump never learned, you know, about the protectionism of Spain in the 1600s and all the reasons why tariffs are bad and not smart, because they're the opposite. Everything the Republican Party's ever stood for is free trade. Laissez-faire means hands off. Hands off. That's what that's the economic. Hands off economics. Laissez-faire economics. Leave it alone. It'll be at its best if you just leave it alone, right? Oh my God, exact opposite of everything he's doing, right? Sticking his thumb in there, in between everything. Tariffs is the opposite of leaving it alone. And that's what our whole system's supposed to be. But especially, it's what the Republicans have said that they stand for more than the Democrats or anybody in the world. That's who they really are. I identify as a free market capitalist, laissez-faire economist. Yeah. Blah, blah, blah. And now they're all just gargling Trump's nuts and lying to us. Oh, it's just a correction. Oh, things are going to get better in the third or fourth quarter. No. We got 3 or 4 years to go. Holy shit. But, so anyway, it just frustrates me because all you ever hear is everyone in the media saying, I just don't understand. Why? Why is he so possessed by these tariffs? It's because the only thing that ever educated him was TV news. And TV news said, we were losing this trade war sort of like thing with all these countries that are, you know, whatever. And so it brings us here. And I drink my coffee black. I drink my whiskey neat. What a good song. Hosier? I don't know. Oh, if you saw that video of mine, Like Water for Chocolate, Like Water, it's a reference. It's a deep reference. A big award-winning French film in French from like 1991 was called Like Water for Chocolate. It was, you know, one of those cool cultural films, a cultural experience. But it was about a woman who cooked with love, and her love went into her food, and it made people emotional. So, I have a video about the blueberries, and it says, name of that video is, whatever, something, name of the video is Makes Me Emotional, Like Water for Chocolate. Anyway, that's the name of the movie. I recommend you go find that movie if you haven't found that extra bit of culture in your life. Go see Like Water for Chocolate and then bring that to a cocktail party. You will sound highly cultured. But it made me cry. It made me cry in a good way, like tears of happiness. And I saw it in the theater with an amazing woman that I was dating at the time that was way above my pay grade. And she brought me to it because she was a woman of incredible well-roundedness. Anyway, she was an All-American swimmer at Amherst. Studied biology and then got into banking and was like a vice president at in the corporate office in her mid-20s and just crushing it. Yeah, way above my pay. I was only 20 and she was 26. And yeah, I got like, yeah. If I could, yeah, I have known some amazing women. I just wish I'd ended up with one of them. Anyway, okay. But yeah, I didn't realize how, like, if I was smart, I would have just invested 100% into that relationship. But I was 20 and too stupid to realize what I had. So, live and learn. Oh yeah, how about all these added regulations at the Canadian border to make it just impossible for Canadians and Americans to go back and forth or be friends? Or, by the way, we have a lot of Canadian citizens living here. And are we really going to start rounding up? So the way things are moving, it's going to be legal for ICE to start rounding up Canadians who own homes in South Florida, right? That they live in 5 months of the year, right? Well-to-do Canadians that are in their 70s and 80s and 90s. And the way things are moving forward, there's a literal chance that ICE could be going in there and rounding them up, detaining them, locking them up, and then deporting them. But locking them up for like giving them 6 months in prison. I mean, it's, and that's, if you're not watching the Canadians talk, they are so insulted. So they're never going to buy Kentucky whiskey, ever. Again, they may come back to Hawaii. They're never going to buy Kentucky. They're never going to buy a Tesla, ever again. They're so insulted. This 51 state talking down to them like you're just the 51st state. That's, that is so insulting. Those are fighting words, okay, first of all. And then the tariffs, the insult to injury, that are just hurting people on both sides dramatically. Factories closing, jobs lost. We already have a million government workers are being fired right now. They say it's just whatever. No, they're going for at least half of the 2.3 million federal workers, right? So we're gonna have, and 350,000 of those are veterans being laid off. Right, the one job they've had other than serving the country in the military is working for Veterans Affairs, or they're a veteran working at USAID, and we just pulled the rug out from under them. Now that's the one thing you never want to do in this world. I mentioned this before, but really I think almost all, like 99% of all mental illness comes from one thing. And it's the same thing every time. Comes in different forms, but it's when people pull the rug out from one another. Or maybe nature does it, right? That can make you batty, escaping a fire. So I guess it could come from other sources. But nevertheless, all these despicable Republicans are doing is pulling the rug out from millions of people. Tens, hundreds of millions of people, several countries, all around the world, in our country and their country, just rug pulled out, job lost, you just lost your job, you just lost your job, as if it's fun to fire people, right? Pulling the rug out from under people like there's some kind of sick pleasure in that, and these are, I mean, each story is going to be tragic, and there are already 50 million of these stories. If you count up all the people who are going to lose their jobs in America, in Mexico, in Europe, in China, in Canada, I mean, it's devastating, right? And of course, this is going to affect the overall stock market because the overall global economy is going to pull back and shrink. It has no choice. Supply chains are being disrupted. All the same shit that happened during the pandemic is happening now. So I expect stock market to keep dropping. We're down 10%. I bet we go 20% pretty soon. They should have known that. Right, I know. And that's it's sad to say, and I don't mean to be mean to people who might have watched that show, but if you took pleasure in watching people being fired, I mean, you got to do a little work on yourself maybe, try to figure out what part of you took pleasure in seeing people hurt. Try to get that out of out of your DNA. Because it's not good. It's not what you want. You don't, it's gross, right? It's gross. Like this Shane Gillis when he said on Saturday Night Live, he's like, I didn't really want Greenland, but then he said, I want Greenland, and now I'm thinking I kind of want Greenland. You know, like, soon as someone just says, let's take something, or be mean to somebody, or let's fire that person, I kind of wanted to fire him after, so he just said, let's fire him. Sounded like it would be kind of fun, you know? Just ruin someone's life, have the power to do that, you know, like, or ruin Greenland's life, have the power to do that. Like, that tendency to go from the suggestion to thinking something sociopathic is good is something you need to work on if that's you. I'm speaking to Republicans, obviously. But yeah, I mean, I look at that show because I could never watch that show. It was gross. But people loved it, and he made money from it. It's the only time he's ever done anything successful was when he faked being successful and just fired people and was an evil bastard. The devil himself. What kind of show would the devil have? Oh, a show where he just pulls the rug out from under people for fun and gets everyone to celebrate that? I mean, yeah, that's Lucifer in charge right there. Resident Evil. Yeah, Canada's pissed off, and I'm on their side. Yeah. I hope they exact all the pain that they possibly can in exchange, and we suffer. And then we wake the fuck up and stop being stupid and never vote for this kind of people ever again, Republicans. And if you're a Republican, you call everyone you know right now. You can flip a switch. Flip a switch right now, become a real American. Call everyone you know and say, sorry, that was a big mistake for the last 9 years of my life. I'm so sorry I didn't realize that I was leading this country to ultimate nuclear disaster somewhere. Because that's where all this will go if they don't we don't figure out how to get them. Yeah, I know, you can't talk to them. They're so stupid. They're listening to the shit, and they're losing more money. There's more trinkets for sale. Have you heard there's boots? You can get cowboy boots, Trump cowboy boots. Yeah, cowboy boots, Bibles, golden shoes, meme coins, digital trading cards. Yeah, I don't want to talk to those people either. I just stay away. But their lives, I mean, my God, how many of these idiots are on Social Security? You know, a lot of them. And everything's going to be more expensive. Holy shit. You know what we could have done? Instead of be idiots, we could have... Right, I'm not sure which person you're talking about. You're talking about Melania? I don't know. But yeah, let's deport Melania. That's what I want to see. Deport Melania. Let's revoke her citizenship. She got hers based on lies, totally illegally. She's supposed to be one of these smart people that we were bringing in, and she got qualities, but smart ain't one of them. Yeah, deport Melania. Woo! Wouldn't that be great? And Elon Musk and Peter Thiel. My God. And we need to lock up Peter Thiel and Musk and just take all their... You know, I was thinking, we could tax all of America like we do right now. 50% of the country that pays all the taxes. Or we could just tax the top 100 richest people in America. Let's just tax the shit out of them. They'll still have plenty of money. Let's bring them all down to $1 billion. And just tax the shit out. Take all that money. And imagine that. We could tax 330 million Americans, or 100, and leave the other 330 million Americans out of it, not tax them at all, and have the same money. You just tax the top 100 richest, you know? The Forbes 100 list you don't want to make anymore. Oh, I would love, if I was president, I would love to have just a tax bracket for the top 10 richest people, right? Like 90%, top 10, top 100, 80%, top 1,000, 70%, top 10,000 richest people, 60%, right? And right there, man, I think you might be able to stop taxing people after that. And you might just wipe out are dead. Anyway, that's the kind of stuff I fascinate about. I have fantasies about taxing the rich, finally, for once in my life. But the coolest thing is, what I just love is that we now have, like, I would literally fight a Republican right now. I'm so pissed, which is not how I should think, but I resemble a whole bunch of, like, 50 million Americans. So, but instead of doing that, of course, because I'm not, because I'm civilized, I now know there's the companies that didn't support Biden, that only supported Project 2025 and Donald Trump. For the rest of I'm going to focus my anger on any person, any musician, any podcaster, any right-wing, anything, companies that got rid of DEI. Any of these companies on this list, I've read it a couple times. I'm not going to do it now, but it comes from, it's now had 1 million views. I saw it when it had 20,000 views and made this copy. But this list right here, starts with AutoZone, Ace Hardware, Allegiant Air, Arby's, Armor All. Anyway, companies that donated Project 2020. Tell the people with Sunny. It's had 1 million views. People are learning the list and they're adding to it, right? You add UFC, you add Joe Rogan, you add Amazon, you add Target, McDonald's and Walmart are on both lists. They got rid of DEI and they donated only to Project 2025, which is evil. That's the Nazi manifesto. Imagine these companies, like 200 companies, 100 companies. They voted. They donated money to the Nazi manifesto. Project 2025 is nothing less than that. Obviously, too. There was no ifs, ands, or buts about it. And so it's just crazy because now I believe they will be made to suffer. I don't think I'm alone and that I'm going to exact my revenge by never spending $1 with any of these motherfuckers ever again. And they're going to feel the pain. There can be new companies that come out. They can all go out of business. Fine. And that doesn't help the stock market either. The tariffs, the pissed off countries, the layoffs, the job market shrinking. None of this helps the stock market. Of course, corporations aren't going to be paying any taxes, and now they're going to have a license to price gouge, right? When the news is there's inflation because of this other thing. Doesn't matter whether prices are going up. They're raising prices right now because they can, because that's what you're expecting. If you're expecting prices to rise, they're going to rise. They're going to rise because they know they can just do it. And nothing you can do about it, nothing you're going to say about it. You're just still going to need to buy what you got to buy. You're just going to lose your house in the process. It just makes me so happy that there is now a target, somebody I can get back at for the rest of my life. I hope I live like a long time just so I can vote. And that's how real American patriots win this fight. If we don't all get murdered by this administration in a nuclear disaster, is we live to vote 6 more times than our dipshit MAGA unhealthy sibling, right? If we have a sibling we don't talk to anymore because they're assholes that want to destroy the country and take away women's rights and kill women with taking away their rights, kill children by not regulating guns, kill the environment, which kills all of us anyway. If that's who, and they just love racism, if that's who, these people are, fine. Let them eat the shitty food because they're so stupid. They're not going to eat healthy and exercise. So let them die at, 40, 50, 60. And you got to live to your 80, 90, 100. And you got to vote 6 more times than your MAGA relative. That's the long-term plan. That's how we win the long game here. We spread and encourage people to read books, get an education, think critically, and vote 6 more times than their MAGA dipshit brother who's gonna die a lot younger than them, hopefully. I don't mean that to my brother. I love my brother. He was a MAGA idiot. Poor guy had a stroke, and now and that's, oh man, talk about trauma. PTSD. The worst PTSD on earth is the one you get from getting a stroke, because now you have had the stroke. Having the stroke was traumatizing. Everything after it is traumatizing. You can never get out of the cycle. It's got to be the hardest thing to overcome ever. Anyway, that's why I'd like to start a comedy night where I encourage people who've had a stroke to come on up, who can still speak, make jokes, because they can often make great jokes still, and give them a freaking voice and a career. If I could get lucky enough to, sponsor events where I could get jokes from people with strokes and get them paid for it. Be so good for them. Anyway. That's a little off topic. That's okay. Everything, there is no off topic for me. So, yeah, it's all crazy, man. It's nothing but pulling the rug out. Oh, sorry, I got it. Okay, running out of battery. 54 minutes. All right, fuck. Sorry, I gotta make these shorter. I think they'd be more attractive to people if they were not quite so long. But now you know what all the news is going to be. You're going to hear about all this stuff in the news. Oh, and you see this gross little white supremacist, Kingsley Wilson Cortez, running around behind disgusting Republicans, knowing she's a white supremacist. It's just gross. Yeah. Tim Pool is gross. What's under that hair? Oh, Pete Hegseth. His hair. He's never washed his hair. Hasn't washed his hair in over 15 years. Well, hasn't washed his hand in 15 years. Hasn't washed other parts of his body in 15 years. He's gross. But whenever you drink in the morning, raise a toast, because you're pulling a Pete Hegseth. That's what we call drinking in the morning now in America. Doing a Pete Hegseth. Oh, and yeah, so there's these little things, travel visas that we just allowed. We allowed people to just go back and forth Canada and Mexico. They didn't have to do all this extra paperwork, but now these dipshits in Washington make sure everyone's got to do all this extra paperwork, make their lives fucking miserable. We locked up a perfectly wonderful young lady from Canada who came here, stayed longer than 30 days on a hiking trip, right? She's doing probably the Pacific Trail. And, she overstayed her visa, so she's been locked up in jail for 2 weeks. Like the most wonderful young Canadian woman ever. And of course, that's on the news. The gloves are coming off. Canadians are nice, but don't punch them in the face like we just did. It's just awful. And Canadians and Mexicans, what do you think? They're just going to take this shit? Yeah. Yep, yeah, it's great. Yeah, I'm not the only one feels this way, and that's not going to spend money on these shitty companies. But, did you hear Trump just empowering the corporations, right? He's going to empower the corporations to make people's lives miserable. And then if you do anything, because he didn't just say Tesla, right? He said, like, doing anything against any corporation will be an act of domestic terrorism. Not invading the Capitol and beating a cop with a pointed spear. That's not domestic terrorism. And threatening to kill and literally trying to kill Mike Pence. That's not domestic terrorism. But spray painting a Nazi swastika on a Tesla, that's domestic terrorism. Yeah, right. So, but that's scary. And that's what these insecure, snowflake, meek, weaklings, Republicans, that's their brand. They're weak, meek weaklings who can't take shit, and they're going to have to lock everybody up who says anything bad about them or who protests or who, it's gross. And, man, when I become president in 4 years, I'm going to have to let a lot of people out of jail. Just kidding, obviously. It's probably not going to happen. But if I could find one $5 million donor, I think I would move to Northern California, and I would try to unseat that guy in the Nevada City region. He's a red representative, and I got a family history there longer than anybody, right? I got roots that go back 170 years in that town in Nevada City and in that region. So, the people there are pissed off because their Republican ain't doing shit. It's finally becoming apparent to people that Republicans are really harmful and corrupt and bought and paid for, and they're not listening to anybody. They never have. They don't care about anything but their pocketbooks. It is the weirdest, and I just don't get it. Like, why? I mean, I guess because you get to just end up with a bunch of money you wouldn't have had, you know? Glad I caught you live, Craig. Stay true, friend. I love you. Right on, brother. Yeah, it's fun. I'm going to try to do this every day. It's this weird project that is costing me subscribers. It's okay, though. We're thinning out. It's just like the way a Republican sees all these good people who he's detaining and locking up. He wants to thin out the crowd of the good people that would question authority. I'm thinning out the bad people. I'm very unpopular with racist traitors. Men who hate women do not like my show. And they quit every day. I lose 10 subscribers every day, and I know it's the racist traitor Republicans that I'm losing, and that's fine. That just makes this a safer space. Not having domestic terrorists on our platform is good. So I got 5,000 more subscribers to lose. 4,000 before I lose my ability to be monetized. I am monetized again. It's pretty exciting. I haven't figured out how to do all those other bells and whistles. Haven't triggered that thing that allows you to be a subscriber for $3.99 a month. But I'm going to do all that soon. Not that I expect anything, or, I'm just going to put it there. I'm not going to harp on it. Like, you've never heard me say, oh, please subscribe, please like. I mean, once in a while I do, but rarely. And I think I would like to make it my brand, although it's risky because it seems to be effective in the way it shouldn't. I don't want it to be, but still, I'd rather tell you don't subscribe. I'd like to be the one guy on YouTube who tells you don't subscribe, don't share, don't leave a message, don't like. I don't care. I mean, I do. I like the nice messages. Okay, so it's not that I don't care, but I just want to be a rebel is my point here, okay? I don't want to conform. What's up with all these conformists? Everyone says the same shit. Please like and subscribe. Before we go on any further, please like and subscribe if you like this content. I'm so sick of hearing that. I've heard that. That's the advertisement I've spent literally a year of my life hearing. Just that if you took that clip out, every time I've heard it and put it together, it would be 1 year of my life. Yes, I'd like to think of myself as a real patriot. Thank you for that, because that's how I identify. Other than identify as cool as well, I also identify as a real patriot, and it just bothers me. There should be a law against these traitors, these Russian propagandists being able to use words like Patriot Front. That's the Nazi front, is what that is. That's the freaking traitor front, or the Turning Point America. That's the Nazi Moms Club. It's just gross. Anyway, that shit is so offensive. So offensive. Oh, love you guys. Oh. But yeah, so I've got like maybe, I don't know, 5, maybe 10 1-hour shows I can do, and I'm going to have a whole 1-hour show I can do. It's just my angry rants. It's all just going to be one show of fuck you Republicans. But yeah, wouldn't it be great to have a business or see business? Because, of course, they've legalized discrimination, right? In Colorado, the gay cake story went to the Supreme Court. Discrimination against gay people is legal. Okay, well then it's legal to discriminate against Republicans, right? In China, they hate Japanese so much, they put up signs in China, left over from like World War II or whatever, or before that, that say no Japanese, no dogs, no Japanese allowed. Okay, that's in China. It's kind of funny, not funny. It's mean, but it's the world we live in. So what if businesses said no dogs or Republicans allowed? That'd be so fucking sweet. That'd be a great t-shirt, wouldn't it? Or bumper sticker. Although dogs should be allowed. So maybe what would be a good thing to prohibit as well, just so it has a ring? Anyway, or just No Republicans allowed would be a great sign on businesses. Oh, oh God, that'd be fun. Anyway, instead of like putting a rainbow in there saying you support the LGBTQ community, just put no Republicans allowed, because it's pretty much kind of the same thing. I mean, yeah. You know, I went through all of New England, and one of the cool things, all in New England, which is just, this is 95% white. All through New England, everywhere, on all the freaking front yards, Black Lives Matter, rainbows, supporting LGBTQ community, just open-hearted, open-minded, educated, intelligent, beautiful people, white as hell, all through New England, supporting, you know, George Floyd. And, and there's a movement in the Republican Party to pardon him and let him out of jail. The murder of George Floyd. Of course, because that's who these people are. They're the ones with the morals, you know, making the world a better place, letting rapists, pedophiles out on the streets, inviting them, the rape Tate brothers into our country. Oh my God, rounding up hard-working, law-abiding citizens who happen to not be documented, but happen to be doing 65% of the work in several of our farming states. The majority of all the labor is under attack by the people who employ them. The Trump supporters that voted for this asshole are losing all their employees, and it's sad. It's the worst part is just watching these people's lives being pulled out from under them. But then the amusing, also sad, and you know, we don't want to see our fellow Americans suffer. But when it's because they're so fucking stupid and they did it to themselves, it's hard to look away from that train wreck. It's just so hard to look away. And of course, that's a lot of the content out there, right? I love all these people. They get all the clips together of all the people. Because people now going on TikTok, I guess. Maybe I should be on TikTok. I just don't trust it. Yeah, all these TikTokers. Oh, I'm so sad. I'm losing. Oh, our whole state's going to be, Nebraska, we're going to be bankrupt 6 months because, bring in our crops. Shit, yeah. Duh. Oh, my God. Oh, my God. How far away from common sense? And that's the other thing. These assholes now, because they're so far from common sense, they think you're going to be tricked by they're going to call themselves the party of common sense. Yeah, well, it's just common sense. Yeah, none of it's common sense. Nobody sees anything Republicans do as common sense. They corrupt every word they ever use, like pro-life is really pro-death. I missed that, sorry. Anyway, I should have it on a big screen right now, getting extra views. Isn't that funny? You can watch your own videos, you know, clock your own time, watch your own ad. When you're watching a video from your channel and an ad comes up, you're like, oh, let it play. Hopefully it'll last 2 hours. Turn the volume off. Just let that ad play on my channel. You know what I mean? It's just kind of funny. Because I do that, absolutely. When I run my videos of the ocean, I have like 2 screens on that are anonymous, right? So you're just going. So when it says like 6 people are watching, it's really only 4. Oh, excuse me. I had a safety meeting right before this, you know, so I had to get safe. I'm very safe. Shit, we're over an hour. That's got to be too long. Anyway, go get your Moosehead Beer Presidential Pack for 1,461 beers. It comes in on a pallet. You have to pay some extra tariffs, but it'd be great if Americans bought that shit too. It's marketed towards Canadians, of course, but you can order it. It comes on a pallet, a big crate, 1,461 Mooseheads, a beer for every day of this presidency if we all live that long, which I pray we do. It's time to start praying and prepping. All right, am I missing? So those are the stories. Those are some of them. I mean, there's so many. But yeah, these MAGA moms, man, they're dangerous. They raising their kids, giving them guns, sending them to school with guns, killing them. Lori Daybell, MAGA mom, killing her children. Man, That's when you realize, oh man, I'm so thankful to be single. What if I'd ended up with one of those women? Right? And I feel sorry for you women that ended up with a MAGA man. That was a mistake. You really fucked up. So sad. So sad. But he thinks he's so smart. I know, it's so weird. It's so weird when the dumbest people think that they're smart. Right? And that was cool. That was one of the few things Rupert Murdoch has done in his life that was decent, was publishing how stupid Trump is with these tariffs in the Wall Street Journal today. If you haven't seen the Wall Street Journal, that's what you'll find. And the big story about Trump's spiritual religious advisor, you know, his right-hand spiritual man, rapist, pedophile, right? All these people calling rapist and pedophile. Everyone else is a rapist and pedophile. No, that's just you. You and your man right there. You got to wonder what kind of nefarious things Trump has done, you know. Out there, Jeffrey Epstein, with his best friend, Jeffrey Epstein, his best friend, who procured his girls for his island. Where did he procure those girls, those 13-year-olds? At Mar-a-Lago. Yeah, so you get the 13 and 14-year-olds over there to Mar-a-Lago to massage the old creepy men, and then who are runaways, and then you get them to ship them off to an island to abuse them, you know? Yeah, that's Epstein, Trump, Mar-a-Lago. That's where all the girls that Epstein raped came from. And these dipshits, MAGA, I just love it when they're like, oh, Biden took a shower with his babysitter. Oh my God. And I don't know if that's true or not, but okay. I mean, compared to everything else, I mean, that's pretty mild. Is that really all he did? Was take a shower with a babysitter? I assume she was of age. I think the reference is that was his, that's his current wife now, who was once his babysitter. But, I mean, whatever. Anyway. Yeah, and, you know, it's not like Jill wasn't a consenting adult. It wasn't like he was cheating on his wife. You know, I love it. Here's something I like to do. I like to go to right-wing assholes platforms and just write. Because Trump says that he's the best president in history all the time. He's the worst, and that's why he says he's the best. But I just like to write, Joe Biden was the greatest president in American history. Faithful to his wife, faithful to the Constitution, faithful to his country. And then the classic Trump line, better than Washington, better than Lincoln. That is fun to say. Tell you what, I'd like to make a t-shirt out of that. Anyway, all right, thanks for watching. Sorry for going on and on too long, most likely. And thanks for letting me dance. I'll figure out how to, you know, I could get like some YouTube non-copyrighted music that is just like pretty weak, not like the best music like from the Oscars, and dance to that, and then you could hear it. But for now, I'm just gonna play some kick-ass song. I was dancing earlier to Teddy Swims, and that was cool. It was fun. It was good for me, shaking out all this evil that's coming from the Republican Party. That's being like herpes. We're just being infested like herpes with this evil shit, and then it's spreading to the whole world, all because some really uninformed voters just fuck themselves. Sorry for swearing too. It's hard not to swear when there's just so much pain and suffering. And I'm not suffering it yet, but it's probably just a matter of time, one way or another. Either I'll be homeless, or I'll have the SS coming. You know, the Gestapo, the Republican Gestapo coming after me because I have a public opinion and I use my right to speak. Right. Because they're going to attack. They're attacking that. They're attacking everyone's rights. While they're saying they're protecting your gun rights, they're going to make it so you can't talk, get an education, can't assemble and protest. All the things that are, you know, protected by the Constitution. They're going to poop all over that while making sure you have guns. But what if the people with all the guns, which is everybody, it's not just Republicans, of course, it's everybody. What if all the people with all those guns don't like you anymore, right? So that's an interesting thought. And then, of course, they will. This party that supposedly would never take your guns away, oh yeah. You dipshit Republicans, have faith. That's coming too. After they pick off everyone, imprison everyone, they're going to start taking your guns. Right? And I'm in favor of our assault rifles, all the military weapons coming off the streets. Those guns should be brought back. But here's a genius. I got a genius way. I got a 6-point plan to curb gun violence. And one of those things is to answer to the mantra, right? They got 2 mantras. Tyrant, you gotta have guns because there could be a tyrant like we have right now, right? Are they gonna figure that out? So tyrants, but then also the foreign invasion. That's the reason they gotta keep these AR-15s. So we just say, hey, man, look, we'll put this in this duffel bag and the military will keep it for you. And if it looks like they're building up on the border and we're gonna go to war with another country, we're gonna see it coming. And we'll react and we'll ship your guns back to you so that the government doesn't have to pay to arm the citizens like it did in Ukraine. Ukraine didn't have guns everywhere and they had the smart rifles, right? Okay, so that's what we do with that. And then we don't take your guns away, we just stop selling new ones. We have 500 million. They say 4, but it's really 500 million. They don't go bad. They're not dairy products. Guns last forever, right? So we just stop selling new guns for 10 years, a 10-year pause. And maybe we subsidize a couple of the companies, the ones that haven't flooded Mexico. Like there are four gun shops in tiny towns that have flooded Mexico with guns. They sell way more guns than they should ever sell, and we let them do it. We are arming the cartels knowingly. Republicans are. And then they complain that, we got to worry about them. So stop selling all new guns for 10 years. And then when we sell them again, 10 years later, we only allow bolt action, right? You can have a 50 caliber, bolt action, revolvers, 6 shots is enough. We don't need semi-automatic, we just don't. And then shotguns, which is a great home protection device, better than a goddamn AR-15, right? AR-15 bullets go through 15 fucking walls. They can kill 3 people, go through 3 different human bodies before they stop. They should not be out in the streets anywhere. It's scary. And having them doesn't protect you from a guy with them. And Vivaldi proved that to us. The cops were too afraid to go approach the guy because he had one of those guns, because it's so fucking scary. They're made to just rip bodies apart. Anyway, right? And then free gun safes for everyone that wants a free gun safe. And then added measures of protection if they want it, like a fingerprint thing or a breathalyzer. Add it to their gun safe, right? So free gun safes for anybody, and free registration service if you want to register an unregistered gun, right? Like, these are the kinds of things. And then a bounty. Pay people to turn in their guns if they want. You're not taking their guns away, but if they want money for them, let them. And if you take away new sales of guns for 10 years, the gun owners will have a heyday because they'll make so much money selling their used guns, right? So these are the things we can do. Oh, and then the frontal cortex is not fully developed. We're not able to make really rational decisions till we're 23, 24 years old. Women, 21 years old. This frontal cortex is fully developed, right? So let's make gun age the same age as your brain is fully developed. 21 for women and 23 or 4 for men, right? And then because all the crimes committed by people under the age of 23 or 4 who have no ability to regulate themselves. So that would be another thing I think would make common sense, right? You could maybe be allowed to have a gun with you when you're with your parents. That's fine. Whatever. If you really got to have a gun in that age group, you join the military. But anyway, yeah, I got an idea. I just fantasize about ways to make the world a better place all the time. I can't stop thinking about it. And so I could go on. I got like 100 ideas, But yeah, we don't got to take guns away other than military weapons, and we got to come down harsh on home printed guns. That's something we got to root out and make very harsh penalties for, and then do all the rest of that shit. And yeah, That's the solution to our gun. Here I go. I tried stopping half hour ago. Can't stop talking. I talk too much. Oh, and of course, right after Trump was a dick to Zelensky, Putin just bombed. When I got power back, I was able to resume. Sometimes I can't. But that should be the end of the show. I talked long enough, and but stay tuned, because tomorrow, however bad the news was today, tomorrow I promise you it's going to be worse. And hopefully we can get a laugh, because we know it's coming, and we're just going to watch what sociopathic, malignant, narcissistic, pathological liars do when they're leading the world and the country. Right? Oh my God. And I love how Bill Burr getting credit for holding these guys to the fire. But you know what I wish? Well, so first of all, I should tell you this. Fame is a curse. No one should ever want fame. I don't want fame, but there's nothing left to lose in this world. So, you know, and in order to be successful in comedy, I'm going to have to find fame. So, but no one should. If you start a YouTube channel, you should do one where your face ain't in it. It's just your hands and a voice or whatever, right? Fame is a curse. So there's that. But having said that, I wish I could get more famous speaking truth to power, because that's what everyone says we need. These ladies, I've had her like, we need to bully these guys. I'm like, hey, over here, I'm trying to bully them. Will you shine a light on my channel? So yeah, I'm just doing God's work here, trying to help the cause, and I recommend you bully these conservatives too. Why? Because they bully us. They want to bully us. They want to tell us you should be afraid of us. We're going to threaten you. Yeah, threaten me, please. You know what? There's 50 million Americans out there saying threaten me right now, instead of this lady over here, this lady in charge of these Tesla protests. Yeah, all these meek weaklings, Republican pussies, threatening this woman, this lovely woman who just wants to exercise her right to protest against Tesla with a sign on a corner. Nothing wrong with that. But Republican traitors are threatening her. Biggest wimps on the planet. Anyway, all right, do no harm, do no crime. Thanks for watching All Good Things and All Good Time. Love you all. Here, let's sign off looking at the ocean. Oh, yeah. Ain't that pretty? Okay. All right, love you guys. Aloha.